Hi, sixth graders. So we're going to do a quick overview of this week's Parshat Bamidbar, the first in the fourth book of the Torah. And then I'm going to explain to you a project that I'm kind of excited about. So this week's Parsha describes what the camp of Bnei Israel looked like as they traveled in the desert after the Mishkan was built. I'll be showing you a map shortly. Each tribe had their own specific place around the Mishkan, which was in the center. And also, the Torah mentions that each shevet had a flag or a banner, a degel in Hebrew. Now, the Torah doesn't go to lengths describing what they look like, but different Mefarshim have done some work over the years, and I'm sure you've seen many different artists' renditions of what the flags of Bnei Israel looked like. So let's take a short look at what the camp looked like and the outline of the camp, and then we're going to take a look at the flags and what the symbolism is. So just a little overview. In the center, you had the tabernacle right here. Tabernacle is the fancy word for the Mishkan. And in the immediate this was called Machane Shechina, the camp of Hashem's Shechina, Hashem's presence. Then immediately surrounding that, like Hashem's inner circle, the people who could be closest were Leviim, anyone who was a Levi. And Kohanim, obviously, because Kohanim all come from the Shevet of Levi. So this is a little confusing because you have north over here, where you would normally expect west. So let's just rotate it a tiny bit. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, anyways, so this is north, right? So east of the Mishkan, you sort of have to tilt your head to see it. Okay, east of the Mishkan, Moshe and Aaron and their families had their own special tents. And then to the north, west, and south, you had the three families of Levi. Levi had three sons, Gershon, Kahat, and Merari. And they and their children, they were like mini tribes, sub-tribes of Levi. Those were in the four directions around the Mishkan. Then, in each direction, you had 3 of the 12 tribes. And you're going to say to me, wait, Moroshira, but Levi was in the center, so that's now only 11 tribes. Aha! But as you know, Yosef, the brother Yosef, is actually split into 2 tribes, Menashe and Ephraim. So, good call. So to the north, you had Naphtali, Asher, and Dan all camped out. This is like the outer circle surrounding the Mishkan. To the east, you had Yehuda, Yisachar, and Zvulun. To the south, we had Reuven, Shimon, and Gad. And to the west, we have Binyamin, Menashe, and Ephraim. So this is just a basic schematic. This is what the outline of the camp looked like. This is how they traveled, how they set up. And when they were camped out, each family had their own little tent, they had so in order for you to know who was where, they had their banner flying. So like Naphtali's banner would be flying somewhere around here, Asher's banner would be flying somewhere around here, and they would have one big banner or flag for the entire Shevet. Okay, and this week's parsha discusses how many men were in each tribe, men of fighting age, and this parsha really describes Bnei Israel almost like an army, even though that's not what we are. But they're camped like an army, they travel like an army, they're very well organized. They have their banners, they have their generals, they have their leaders. In each of these 4 directions, one of the Shvatim was like the primary leader, and then the other 2 were under it, and so they're very much described like an army here. The main interpretations given to this is that we're the army of Hashem, right? We are Hashem's soldiers in the world. And the way Bnei Israel traveled in the desert, was just a physical representation of how we are Hashem's army. We looked and acted and traveled like an army. There are many parallels. Now, to their flags, their banners. This is the interesting part. So I'm gonna link to this website. It actually has a whole very nice overview of the whole parsha. I just want you to read the section called "Flying the Colors." Okay, all you have to do is scroll down to the section "Flying the Colors," and it describes what we believe each shevet's flag looked like. And the basic idea here is that each individual shevet The color of their flag is the same color that you would find on the Choshen, another place where all 12 tribes are represented. And then the imagery, the picture, the symbolism, or the color, the symbolism or sign that's put on each of the flags is something that represents an important nida, like a character trait, or something important about the tribe. So we'll give you one example. Let's say Shimon. The flag of Shimon is green with an embroidery of a city, meaning the picture embroidery just means like needlework that looks like the picture of a city. It represents Shechem, because Shimon's conquest of the city of Shechem, you guys learned this this was towards the end of Sefer Breshit. You learned this last year. So Shimon's conquest of the city of Shechem is considered the first in the conquest of Eretz Yisrael. So even though it wasn't finished until many, many years later, right? The capturing of Eretz Yisrael wasn't finished until many years later with Yoshua and when they come in and all that stuff. But the Torah likes to say that Shimon started it when he captured Shechem and rescued his sister Dinah and stuff like that. So take a look at this artwork. So you'll see the, hold on, no, I have a better one. Here we go. So you'll see the tribe of the flag of Shimon. Come on. Here we go. Is said to be a picture of a tower. Now, this one doesn't necessarily meet the criteria. They said it was on a green background, but whatever, that's fine. We don't know exactly because the Torah doesn't give us details. Yehuda is another famous one. Right? Is the lion. The lion is a representation of royalty. Also, Yehuda means lion. And Yehuda is where the kings of Eretz Yisrael come from. Zvulun is a ship because Zvulun lived by the coast of Israel, or they would eventually settle by the coast of Israel, and they would do a lot of business. They were the traders, the merchants, and they were always very careful to do their business honestly. Let's see if there's another one I remember off the top of my head. Yeah. Anyways. So you are going to, I'll also post this if you want to take a closer look at just what some of the flags we believe they look like. So I want you to please read this section called Flying the Colors, and you'll see more about each of the flags of the Shvatim. And feel free to read the whole thing. It's a very great overview. Now, what you guys are going to do is I want you to make your own flag, something that represents you. You're coming to the end of 6th grade, which is a big step in life. You're moving into upper school. Many of the girls are bat mitzvah. The boys are becoming bar mitzvah. You're moving into a new stage of life, and you're growing, right? And now is a time for you to try to figure out, well, what shevet do I belong to? Now, obviously, each of us belongs to an actual shevet. Some of us know, some of us don't. But when I say shevet, I mean, what character traits do you want to be represented? What character traits do you want to show to the world? What character traits do you want to be the ones that define you? So, for example, for Shimon, it was his love of Eretz Yisrael and conquering different cities. That's what's represented on his. For Zvulun, it's his honesty in business. That's represented. I want you to think about different things that represent you, different things that you pride yourself on, different things that you like about yourself. And I don't just mean like, oh, I'm like, I'm talented at soccer. Like, I'm not talking about something like that. I'm talking about something that you work at, not something that's just given to you and handed to you because it's a natural talent. I mean something that you work really hard at, something, with meaning and depth to it. And I want you to create your own flag. I don't care if you draw it or make a picture of it on the computer or make it out of Lego or make it out of food. I just make sure it has meaning behind it. And then you are going to either make a video of yourself describing the elements of your flag, or you're going to write up a short paragraph describing the elements of your flag and why you chose them. And I almost want you to imagine that as you're moving on into upper school, this is your banner that you're flying. And anyone who fits those characteristics, anyone who you feel has the same values as you that's represented by this banner, they can come and be in your shevet. That's going to be your immediate shevet. But you're not alone. Just like Shevet Dan wasn't alone, or Shevet Zvulun wasn't alone. They were part of a bigger Machane Yisrael. So even though each of the Shvatim had different midot that were represented, they were still part of a united, coherent whole. Even though you might be part of a subgroup in the upper school, you might have your close friends, you might have a clique, you're not exclusive, because each different subgroup of the upper school of the CTA students are necessary, just like each different shevet is necessary in Bnei Yisrael. So yes, you can be proud of the things that make you, the unique special midot that are wonderful to you, and hopefully the people you choose to associate with. But also it's important to recognize that you're not an island, right? Every shevet needs the other shvatim as well. The shvatim are only powerful together, not when they're alone. Just like Bnei Yisrael are only powerful when we work together, CTA is powerful and can make changes on the world when we work together. So be proud of your individuality, your banner, and recognize that it's also part of our whole class's banner. So if you'd like some help trying to figure out, like brainstorming what to put on, Ms. Nyworth shared something with me. It's for a different project. Feel free to do it on your own, but we're going to adapt it for our needs. So there's something that she found called a narrative necklace. I guess you like maybe design beads that tell the narrative of you. But basically, this is just a brainstorming page. What's your favorite color? What classes do you enjoy? What's your favorite food? All these different things. These are just like questions to start getting you thinking about like what things are important to you, what things represent you, and how can you visually show them to the world. So I'll provide this for you on Google Classroom. You can choose to use it or not. And then I want to show you mine that I made. I made it kind of quickly because, as some of you know, to look at the bottom of my screen, it's 12:15 at night. My baby was having a hard time going to sleep, so I'm filming this late. But I want to show you my flag and explain. So here's my flag. This is the flag that I think represents me. Yay! So I made it this shade of blue because this shade of blue reminds me of the ocean. And I love the ocean because I just think it's so calm and peaceful, and it reminds me of Hashem, like this color, almost like tchelet is supposed to remind us of Hashem's presence. And also I love the beach. Like I look at this color and I think of the beach. So that's why I chose this color. Then in the center for my icon, I chose a spyglass, like a telescope. So this one was an interesting, this came to me in like a weird like flash of an idea. Number one, the reason why I chose this and not like a modern telescope on a tripod that you used to look at the stars is because this reminds me of the past. Because this is like what pirates used to use and people traveling on the ocean used to use. Like this is like old school, right? You think of this and you think of like a movie taking place, 300 years ago. And because I love history so much, Jewish history, non-Jewish history, I just love history. Like I'm a history nerd. You guys know that. So I chose the telescope because it looks old school and it represents it represents history. I also chose a telescope because, again, when I think of it, I think of like pirates and swashbucklers and people going on adventures. And I like that. Like I like to constantly be searching for new adventure. So searching for new horizons, new projects I can take on and new goals I can reach. So that's why I chose the telescope. And the white oval in the background, it originally started out as a circle, and then I tried it out as an oval, and I liked it better because to me, the oval sort of looks like an eye. It's like as I'm looking out at the world, this eye is looking at me. And to me, this is the eye of Hashem that's constantly watching me, which is a scary concept, but also something that I think is very exciting. And I hope that I try to live my life with that understanding that Hashem is always watching me personally. So to me, this represents me because I love to learn things from history and I love to look forward to the future and see new exciting adventures. I feel like Hashem is always watching me. And the blue of the tchelet is the ocean, the calmness of the ocean to help calm me down when I'm like crazy excited. So that's my flag and that's my explanation. Each part you can tell, the color, the shape, the imagery, it all has some kind of meaning to it. So that's my flag. very, very last thing is that the Haftorah, the Navi portion we read this week, comes from the book of Hosea, and it ends with a very beautiful, it ends with a beautiful set of psukim where Hashem describes that Hashem describes he will betroth himself to Bnei Yisrael. Betroth means like to be engaged, right? Ve'erastich li, Hashem says, I will engage myself to you. I will be married to you forever, la'olam. Ve'erastich li b'tzedek u'b'mishpat v'chesed u'v'rachamim, right? With justice and with kindness and compassion and mercy. Ve'erastich li be'emuna, and I will betroth myself to you faithfully. Ve'adat et Hashem, and you, Bnei Yisrael, will know Hashem. And I mean, maybe it's just the romantic in me, but I happen to love these words. These words are very beautiful. It's describing the relationship between Hashem and Bnei Israel almost as like a loving marriage where we choose to be together and we choose to love each other. It's a commitment in both directions. This is actually psukim that men say over the age of Bar Mitzvah as they're putting on their tefillin. They say it in the morning as they wrap on their tefillin. So in the comments, not in the comments, in the Google Classroom, I'm going to just link to 2 music videos that use these words. One is more upbeat and the other one is more like slow and mellow. So if you need a little bit of music to like get you in the mood while you're working on this flag and how the flag represents you, just a little background music that uses these words. And that's that. Have a wonderful day. And I'm really, really excited to see your flags and your explanations. I know you guys are a creative bunch. And thank you for letting me share mine. It was a really fun experience to like think about what mattered to me and things like that. So have fun.